Good morning and welcome to the USI of India Strategic Dialogue, your one-stop shop for national security and geopolitics. Today's subject, Securing India, a National Security Makeover, is dedicated to unraveling the complexities of India's security landscape and exploring the strategies and initiatives aimed at fortifying the nation against emerging threats. I am Major General Sanjeev Chaudhry, your host for this journey into the heart of India's defense and security dynamics. India, with its diverse political challenges, vibrant democracy, and flourishing economy, stands at a critical juncture in its quest for national security. From traditional threats posed by neighboring adversaries to the increasing pervasive influence of non-state actors and cyber warfare, the spectrum of challenges facing India's security apparatus is vast and evolving. Today, we have the privilege of welcoming our distinguished guest, Lieutenant General Raj Shukla, Param Vishesh Seva Medal, Yudh Seva Medal, Sena Medal, to share his insights on India's national security landscape. A word about the General. With a remarkable career spanning over 4 decades in the Indian Army, Lieutenant General Raj Shukla brings a wealth of experience and expertise to our discussion. An alumnus of the Defence Services Staff College, the College of Defence Management, and the National Defence College, the General has served in pivotal roles at the Military Operations Directorate, focusing on doctrines and force structuring, and as the Director General Perspective Planning, addressing issues of military futures and force modernization. As the 22nd General Officer Commanding-in-Chief of the Indian Army's Training Command or RTRAC, General Shukla made significant contributions to India's strategic military futures, technological innovation, professional military education, capacity building, operational poise, and civil-military fusion. Beyond his accomplishment, General Shukla is a professional aviator and a powerful orator with an abiding interest in strategic military affairs. He has authored numerous articles and publications, delivered numerous talks, and attended seminars both in India and abroad. In recognition of his exceptional service, General Shukla was appointed as a member of the UPSC by the Honorable President from 18th July 2022. Today, we have the honor of tapping into General Shukla's vast reservoir of knowledge and experience as we explore the intricacies of India's national security landscape and the transformative journey towards a secure and resilient nation. So without further ado, join us as we explore the contours of this critical discourse. So sir, India's geopolitical landscape is characterized by a complex web of relationships and neighboring countries, regional powers, and global actors. The recent developments such as border disputes, territorial claims, and strategic alliances have heightened tensions in the region, impacting India's strategic security calculus. So, given the complex geopolitical landscape in South Asia, how do you perceive India's current position and the challenges it faces in navigating the regional dynamics to ensure national security?
So, thank you, Sanjeev, firstly for those kind words, and secondly for getting me over to your program, this USI video series on national security. It's a great pleasure and honor to be here. This point about geopolitics, which you said, it's of course very complex and it has numerous dimensions, but just let me make 2 points. One is, either Bill Clinton, I think sometime in the 1990s, while referring to international and domestic politics, said that it's the economy stupid. And that became a buzzword in strategic circles to say that in international competition as also in domestic politics, it is the economy that mattered in the end of the day. While the economy continues to be the mainstay, I think that what has changed today, that in many ways it has become national security story. It is the national security dimension that is determining the hierarchy of nations in major ways. So, let me give you some examples. Look at America. America, which invests, $950 billion, has 800 bases, 11 aircraft carriers. But because it has not quite invested wisely in its statecraft and neglected its military-industrial complex, you have this opera of failing deterrence. Afghanistan, Ukraine, in West Asia, it would seem to me that The American ally Israel has emerged, diminished, while Iran has emerged resurgent. And prospectively in Taiwan, things are not very happy for the Americans. And all because of neglect of these two things. Look at their statecraft. Kissinger and Nixon had decided in the American grand strategy that they would never let Russia and China come together. Over the years, American statecraft has done precisely the opposite. Today, USA is faced with Russia and China together. Russia, people say, is the storm, and China is the climate change. Two nuclear powers together, and they're creating great difficulties for the USA. Today, USA's choice has to be, do we fight in 3 theaters or win in 1? Not very good statecraft. Look at the neglect of the military-industrial complex. I'm told in 2004, Chinese manufacturing capacity value added was half of that the Americans. Today it is twice of that of the Americans. So American studies tell you that the Chinese military-industrial complex is 5 to 6 times faster and more efficient than the American military-industrial. So these are, you see, the long-term implications. What happens in consequence? Even when the West, American-led West, has taken a resolute stance that they will resource the Ukrainian conflict, capacities are lacking. Before Advaita was surrendered, I'm quoting to you William Burns, the CIA director, so it's not my interpretation. They took stock of 2 brigades in Ukraine. One Ukrainian brigade had 15 artillery rounds left. The other had 42 mortar rounds. What will you fight? We are talking of the mighty Americans. Another study tells us that in Taiwan, they don't have 7 days of missiles and munitions to fight in Taiwan. Who knows it? Z knows it. The PLA knows it. In 1995, the Chinese acted funny over Taiwan. Clinton dispatched 2 aircraft carriers, the Chinese backed off. Today, Admiral Paparo is telling Biden that don't send our aircraft carriers, they will get sunk because of China's rocket force and the precision capacities it has. Look at how dramatically geopolitics has changed. And now look at the political outcomes. What it means is that American power cannot project into the Western Pacific. So these are the dramatic outcomes, and therefore I say geopolitics has changed. How does it apply in our context? We are lucky that we are going through a peace dividend, in the sense that conflict seems to be in Europe, West Asia, it might travel to Asia, but wahan par bhi first Taiwan. We should make use of this peace dividend to grow our deterrence. Like the Chinese very cleverly used American entanglement in Iraq and Afghanistan, those 15-20 years to nurse their intention. This is the primary deduction from the geopolitics, that since the grammar has changed to national security and we are enjoying a peace dividend, we should resource our deterrence so that peace between India and China rests not on hope, but on concrete military capacity which should deter China. I am not making the case of war fighting. If you invest in deterrence, the Chinese will back off. If you show weaknesses, deficits, you will encourage the Chinese to do whatever it could be. Iran, it could be another issue. So from geopolitics, this is the precise, I won't say precise, but this is one of the conclusions that I would like to make.
Thank you very much, sir, for that insightful update and perspective. And you used a very good word called statecraft. Now, if you see, national will, leadership, and statecraft are 3 very important aspects of developing a comprehensive national power. Where do you think India is at the moment on this aspect?
So see, statecraft, the best way to understand Indian statecraft is to recall Chanakya, who said with such clarity, he said, "Agar shastra ko bhuloge to apni sanskriti bhuloge. Agar shastra ka tyag karoge to rashtra ko bhuloge." Which means what? That tap into your civilizational problem, see what is good there, and adapt it to modern times. I'm not making a case of just going back to civilization just for the heck of it. There's a lot of wisdom there, but adapt it to modern times. If you do that, you will come to the second conclusion, which I just told you, that the world is changing. National security is important. Agar national security is important, तो शस्त्र का अगर त्याग करोगे, तो राष्ट्र ही खो दोगे. So, where should the instrument of force figure in your strategic calculus? Given what is happening around the world, it should be pretty central. If you do not keep it central, there will be consequences. So this is not a case for war fighting, not a case for jackbooting around the world. But if you resource in military capacities, you will be secure. The Americans are resourcing in military capacities, but because they are not doing it in an optimized manner, how their deterrence is being challenged. Just look at this. This is a very good example for us. America's defense budget is 3 times that of China. पैसे की कमी नहीं है Americans के पास. China's defense budget is 3 times that of us. Why is it that China is causing displacement anxiety in Washington and we don't cause similar displacement anxiety in China? Statecraft. We have to focus on the changes that are happening and do it. So it's not a case of budgets alone. Is it a case of budgets? Yes. We can come to it later. Or let me kill it now. So both issues. Firstly, तो आप internal restructure करिए, reform करिए, optimize करिए. अगर सब कुछ नहीं करने का बहाना हम ढूंढेंगे, no amount of money will be enough. Americans are. The second argument is, people say, defense is expensive. I say deterrence is costly, but wars are costly. Ask the Ukrainians. And look at the argument here. If China's defense budget grew by 7.2% this year, their economy is going only at 3, 2, some say half. Are they foolish? Why are they investing in defense? Because they want to secure themselves and they are not resting only on the economic pie. Hamara ulta hai. Look at the affordability. We are growing at 7% or 8% people get and spending 2%. Are the Chinese callous or are we wise? Yehi to statecraft. Common sense. If you look at these two issues, there is scope for refinement in our statecraft, just in the sense of the Chinese thought.
Very well said, sir. Going ahead, sir, India's national security posture reflects a comprehensive and dynamic approach to safeguarding its sovereignty, territorial integrity, and national interests in an evolving strategic environment characterized by securing challenges and opportunities. So, how would you describe India's current national security posture?
So, our national security posture, I will put it in 2 parts. One is of some of the steps which have been taken in recent times. We have created a very strong edifice. We must not underemphasize this part, because if we underemphasize this part, then we will not realize the importance of the second. So you see, in your and my lifetimes, CDS DMA, in my view, is a game changer. We used to struggle to put 2 officers in MOD.
Absolutely.
We have been given an entirely new department with the CDS being given secretary level powers. The CDS in its conception is more powerful than Barry Goldwater Nichols, at least in my view. Atmanirbhar in Bharat. Today, a startup, Indian startup, has got a contract from US Spacecom, Third Eye Tech. Samir Joshi, when I was the army commander, he came to me today. He talks in 300, 400 crores in the space area of drones. Look at this Tata Airbus, which is going to challenge the monopoly of people like HAL. So this startup culture, business culture, which is coming in Atmanirbhar and defense. DRDO reforms. Do you ever think in your and my lifetime DRDO reforms would happen? OFP reform. Even our new normals in our strategic outlook. See, the message has gone. They may not have been perfect operations, but Pulwama, even Kailash, these kind of messages have gone. So a lot of good stuff has been done. But given the enormity of the China challenge and the complexity of the challenges, changes in character of war, in my view, we have 2 threats remaining. One is the enormity of the challenge, and the second threat is we ourselves. If we do not reform structurally, if we do not reform culturally, in light of the changes in character of war. The General Mark Milley says that the character of war in recent times, the changes have been so profound that they are the greatest in recorded history. We can do this with some examples. तो हमारे पास दो खतरे हैं. एक तो China in my view, Pakistan in my view currently at least is a pest, it's really not a threat. So we must attend to the enormity of the China challenge and the complexity of the challenge and character of war. If we can do that, this is what I think what the program is entitled. This will complete the national security makeover. Edifice very strong, well done, but this is an equal challenge. And unfortunately in war or in clashes between nations, there is little point saying that I did better than last year. You have to do better than the adversary. There famously Field Marshal Manekshaw said that in war there are no runners-up. So we have to deal with the enormity of the China challenge and the complexity of the character of war in very profound ways, not by tinkering, by transformation. This is the, how I view the two challenges, and we can discuss them in detail.
Thank you, sir, for your response. You spoke about CDS and DMA being a game changer. Now, do you see in the future a Ministry of National Security coming up?
I don't think we need a Ministry of National Security, but let's say the CDS DMA. Now I am told that some kind of consensus has been evolved on theatre commands. We are pretty close to launch. If we are pretty close to launch, that will be a major dimension of our, structural corrections. But we need to do a lot more. For example, let me rattle off 2-3 examples. Today you look how the character or how our strategic challenges have changed. Look at what the drone missile complex did in the Iran-Israel exchange. Drones, ballistic, cruise, all these missile combinations. They have really complicated AD and given new strategic options to the political class. In our case today, against the Pakis, we should be able to muster a drone missile response. And what kind of response? Not one which is imprecise. The politician may tell you that target this place with this precision. Do we have a drone missile? Look at our AD. On that night of 14th April, what saved the Israelis? Iron Dome, Arrow 2, Arrow 3, David Slingshot, American Aegis, American fighters, British fighters, American space-based intelligence, and a warning from Iran कि भाई हम मार रहे हैं, तैयार रहना और intercept कर लेना. Are we going to get the same warnings from a Chinese rocket force? And what is our AD? So look, our preparedness has to change in my view. Drone missile force, AD, even in the Pak context, the armored division is no longer the first option of response. There is no commentary on the armored corps. It is just that how things have changed. So we have to be extremely imaginative and creative in structuring these responses. I'll give you one example. Elon Musk, and this is an example of how startups' creativity have come. The Ukrainians jammed firstly they posed massive cyber threats to Ukraine. They jammed all American satellites radiating any data into Ukraine. The mighty Americans. Who came to the rescue of the Americans and the Ukrainians? Elon Musk, Starlinks, all those big fat satellites couldn't do it. It was the Starlinks, small, survivable internet. This helped Zelensky to communicate with global councils. It helped him to communicate with troops, also to direct artillery fire. In one of the exchanges later on, these crude drone brigades, they target the Black Sea Fleet in Sevastopol, and the Russians tell Musk, cut it off or we will escalate. In consequence, President Biden asked, why are we relying on Musk? Where is our own LEO? Americans. Now they have done a Star Shield deal with the Americans. Where is the Indian LEO? So our capacities itself need, in my view, new changes. We can debate it. Drone missile force. Space is no longer an airy, fairy, strategic thing. It affects day-to-day operations. Persistent surveillance. Drone missile force, if we decide to raise it, it will take us 10 years. Our comprehensive AD take us a long time. And things like space and all that. Data has become a weapon. It is, reducing decision cycles. It is getting you ahead in the OODA loop. You need major investments in data. If we have to do a symmetric addressal of China, AI is going to be the secret sauce. AI ki bunyad is data, algorithms and compute. How many LLMs does the Ministry of Defense have? So it is in these dimensions that the lag is going. So if I may just sum up, territorial defense I don't think is that much of a concern. We have balanced. It is in strategic deterrence, all these things, and in power projection. हम बात करते हैं विश्व बंधु की, विश्व गुरु की. Does it not need a military dimension? If you are going to get IMEC from here to Middle East to Europe, is the world not going to threaten it at some point? So, power projection. Today, what is a bigger priority? Projecting power across Malacca or doing POK? I think power across Malacca. Now, these are the things that we have to debate, and these are the challenges we put a serious debate. Now, the good thing is that a lot of these things happen. Theatre commands, I told you this, Atmanirbharta and defense has got fired up. But all these things have to be taken to the next level. Some of it is happening, some of it needs to hasten in pace and scale. I'll just give you one example of this data bit. See how it is in Ukraine. Palantir CEO Alex Karp went to Zelensky just 1 month after Ukraine started. He told him, just give us all your data. I will give you all AI-enabled products and services. Allow my coders into your. He had no option because he was faced with a war situation. He allowed them. They have deciphered for themselves, of course in concert with the military, how through AI, data, algorithms, compute, you can improve targeting, you can improve maneuver, you can improve logistics. Palantir has used data to change the combat game in Ukraine. It happened because it was war. In peace, what is most likely to happen? Proposal will come, we'll find 100 reasons why, security considerations. So if the urgency steps in all these domains, there can be massive transformation in Ukraine. Blood transfusions, AI enabled, are now being done in trenches. Look at Russian air power, this last example. They had precision munitions, few. They had to hold them back because they were few. When they held back and did standoff targeting, it was imprecise. AD could not be taken out. It took them 2 years to make their dumb munitions precise. How did they do it? They were Western sanctions, those components were not coming. Cheap Chinese electronics. Dumb munitions become precise, air power is back in ugly. Character of war. Now it is all these changes जिसके लिए हमने वो बुनियादी तैयारी की है, but वो makeover. So these are the challenges before serious DMA. A lot of, I would say, good things have been done. But see, moment theatre commands happen, now we want digital theatres. That also is happening. The CDS has said, how they are working on data. And he's absolutely right. Unless you work on data, you will never get multi-domain capacity. So data talking to data. So we are in this stage where things are happening, but they better happen fast.